The night air carried the scent of pine, rain, and tension. Silver clouds drifted slowly across the moon, casting shifting shadows over the vast clearing at the center of the crescent moon-packed territory. Tall torches burned in a wide circle, their flames crackling against the cold wind, illuminating dozens of wolves gathered in human form. It was the night of the mate gathering, the most sacred night, the most feared night, and for Arya Vale it was the night her life quietly broke. Arya stood at the far edge of the clearing, partially hidden behind a carved wooden pillar wrapped in ancient runes. Her pale blue dress moved gently with the breeze, the soft fabric brushing against her ankles. She had chosen the simplest dress she owned. No glitter, no jewels, nothing that would draw attention. Because she didn't want attention, not tonight, not from him, but fate had never listened to her before. Her wolf stirred uneasily beneath her skin. Asterisk, he's here. Asterisk, Arya's heartbeat quickened. She didn't need to turn to know who had arrived. The entire clearing shifted. Conversations faded. Shoulders straightened. Power had entered the circle. Alpha King Kale. Kale stepped forward through the torchlight like a storm given human form, tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair slightly tousled by the wind. His black ceremonial coat carried silver embroidery marking his bloodline, one of the oldest alpha lines in the Northern Territories. But it wasn't his appearance that silenced the pack. It was his presence, dominant, controlled, dangerous. The air itself seemed to move around him. His golden eyes scanned the crowd, not with curiosity, but authority. He wasn't searching for a mate. He was here because tradition demanded it, nothing more. At least that's what everyone believed. Arya lowered her gaze, hoping the shadows would hide her. But the moment he stepped closer to the central stone altar, something inside her snapped into place. A pull sharp, unavoidable, her wolf surged forward, mate. The word echoed through her chest like thunder. Arya froze. No, 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 not him, anyone but him. Across the clearing, Kale suddenly stopped walking. The movement was subtle, but every trained warrior noticed. His eyes narrowed slightly. Then slowly he turned. Directly toward Arya, their gazes collided and the world went silent. The mate bond struck like lightning. Arya felt it in her lungs, in her heartbeat, in the trembling of her hands. But instead of warmth, instead of joy, she saw something else in his eyes. Resistance, cold calculation, annoyance, and in that moment she understood everything. Whispers began spreading through the pack. Who is she? That's Arya, the healer's daughter. She's barely ranked. The Alpha King's mate. Impossible. Kale walked toward her, each step measured, controlled. The crowd parted instantly. Arya forced herself to remain still, even though every instinct screamed for her to run. When he stopped in front of her, the difference in their presence was overwhelming. His aura pressed down like invisible weight. For a brief second, something flickered in his expression. Recognition, conflict, then it vanished. Replaced by steel, Arya Vale, he said calmly, not warmly, not gently, just stating a fact. Arya swallowed. Yes, Alpha. The formal title hurt more than she expected. The bond pulsed again. Her wolf whimpered softly. But Kale's jaw tightened, and then he spoke the words that shattered the night. I reject you. Gasps erupted across the clearing. Some shocked, some relieved, some curious. The mate bond burned like fire inside Arya's chest. Pain exploded through her ribs, sharp and suffocating. But she didn't cry, she didn't beg, she didn't reach for him. Instead, she bowed her head slowly, gracefully. Accepting, I understand, Alpha. Her voice was soft, steady, unbroken, and that was the moment everything changed. Silence fell across the clearing, not because of the rejection. Rejections happened, rare but not unheard of. No, the silence came from her reaction. She didn't plead. She didn't collapse. She didn't try to hold the bond together. She simply accepted it, as if she had expected it all along. Kale's eyes darkened. Something unfamiliar stirred in his chest. Not guilt, not regret. Something sharper, something unsettling. Why isn't she fighting it? Why isn't she begging? Why does that bother me? Arya stepped back, one step, then another, creating distance, respectful, final. The bond inside her cracked painfully, but she refused to show it. She would not break here, not in front of the entire pack, not in front of him. "Thank you for your honesty," she said quietly. Then she turned and began walking away. The torches flickered violently as a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing. Something shifted. The atmosphere changed, heavy, unstable. Wrong. Cale felt it instantly. His wolf surged forward. Stop her. The command wasn't gentle. It was instinct, possessive, primal. Arya had only taken 6 steps, 6 quiet steps toward freedom, toward heartbreak, toward a life without him. When stop, Cale's voice cracked through the clearing like thunder. The word wasn't loud, but it carried alpha authority. The ground itself seemed to vibrate. Every wolf froze. Every conversation died. Every breath paused. Arya slowly turned back. Confusion flickered across her face. Cale was staring at her, but not the same way as before. Something had changed, something dangerous. Something possessive. The air grew heavier. The bond broken only moments ago suddenly pulsed again. Stronger, darker, more intense. Cale's eyes glowed gold, his control slipping. The entire pack felt it. Power, dominance, instinct, and then the Alpha King snapped. "Who?" Cale said slowly, his voice edged with something feral. "Gave you permission to walk away from me?" The clearing fell into absolute silence, because that was not the voice of a man who had just rejected his mate. That was the voice of a man realizing he might have made a mistake. Arya blinked. Once, twice, her heart trembled. But her voice remained calm. "You did, Alpha." The words landed like a blade, and for the first time that night Cale had no response. But deep inside him, his wolf was already growling. Mine Part 2 The silence did not break. It thickened. Like storm clouds pressing down on the clearing, Arya's words still hung in the air. You did, Alpha. Simple. Respectful, final, yet they struck harder than any defiance. Cale stared at her. For the first time since the mate bond had formed, something unfamiliar crept into his expression. Uncertainty. His wolf paced violently beneath his skin, claws scraping against restraint. You rejected her. Fix it. Now. Cale's jaw tightened. He ignored it. He had made the logical decision, the necessary decision. An Alpha King could not choose a low-ranked healer's daughter as his mate. The Council would never accept it. The rival packs would see weakness. Power required strategy, not fate. But then the bond pulsed again. Stronger, sharper, wrong. Cale's breath hitched. That shouldn't happen. A rejected bond should fade, not intensify. Arya felt it too. The burning in her chest hadn't disappeared. It had changed. Instead of breaking apart, it was pulling, like invisible threads tightening around her heart. Her wolf stirred weakly. Confused, why does it still hurt? Murmurs began spreading through the crowd. That's not normal. The bond didn't sever. Why is the aura still active? Several elders exchanged uneasy glances. Something ancient had just shifted. Cale stepped closer. One step, then another. The torches flickered wildly as his aura expanded. Arya instinctively stepped back. Not in fear, in control. She was protecting what little dignity she had left. "Look at me," Cale said. The Alpha command rolled through the clearing. Invisible pressure pushed against every wolf present. Most lowered their heads immediately, but Arya did not. She raised her gaze calmly, respectfully, but she did not submit. That was the second moment everything changed. Because resisting an Alpha command wasn't just rare. It was nearly impossible. A shockwave of whispers spread. She didn't bow. How is that possible? Even warriors can't resist him. Cale felt it too. The command had reached her. He knew it had. But something inside her had blocked it, not forcefully. Not aggressively, naturally, like her soul refused to bend. For the first time, Cale truly looked at her. Not at her simple dress, not at her rank, at her. And something deep in his instincts stirred. "Your wolf," he said slowly. Why didn't she submit? Arya hesitated. Not because she didn't know the answer, but because she had spent her entire life hiding it. "I don't know, Alpha," a lie. A careful one, a necessary one. The bond pulsed again. This time pain shot through Cale's chest. Sharp, unexpected. His eyes widened slightly, that had never happened before, not once in his life. Rejected bonds did not hurt the alpha. They hurt the weaker mate, always. Something was very wrong. At the edge of the clearing, Elder Rowan suddenly stepped forward. His expression had changed. Gone was the calm wisdom he always carried. Now there was tension, recognition, fear. Alpha King. Rowan said carefully, "May I approach?" Kale nodded once. Rowan walked slowly toward Arya, studying her, not like a healer, not like an elder, like someone trying to solve a memory. Then he saw it, a faint mark near Arya's collarbone, barely visible beneath the soft fabric of her dress. A symbol, silver, ancient, glowing. Rowan froze, his hands trembled. "No," he whispered, "it can't be." Arya's heart dropped. She instinctively reached for the fabric, but it was too late. The mark had awakened, the air shifted again. Colder now, heavier. Ancient power moved through the clearing like a forgotten language. Rowan turned toward Kale. His voice no longer calm, no longer steady. "Alpha." Kale's eyes sharpened. "What is it?" Rowan swallowed, then said the words that changed everything. "That is not a healer's mark. Silence, complete, absolute." Rowan continued. "That symbol belongs to the bloodline of the first wolves." Gasps erupted across the clearing. Every elder went pale, every warrior stiffened, even Kale's aura flickered, because everyone knew that legend. Everyone, the first wolves were not ordinary alphas. They were rulers before kingdoms existed. Their bloodline had vanished centuries ago. Or so history claimed. Kale looked back at Arya, but now he wasn't seeing a low-ranked wolf. He was seeing a mystery. "A danger, a destiny, Arya," Kale said quietly. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Her throat tightened. "Because she knew this moment would come someday. She just hoped it wouldn't be like this. I was told never to," she whispered. Before Kale could respond, a sudden roar echoed through the forest. Deep, powerful, not from any wolf present. The ground vibrated. Birds scattered violently into the sky. The torches bent sideways as a crushing aura approached the clearing. Stronger than most alphas, older, darker, every warrior instantly shifted into defensive stance. Kale's eyes turned cold. "Who dares enter my territory unannounced?" Then the forest shadows moved, and a figure stepped into the torchlight. Tall, dressed in dark armor lined with crimson markings, silver hair, scar across his jaw, golden eyes glowing like molten fire. Arya's breath stopped, because she recognized him, not personally, but from stories, from warnings. From nightmares, the stranger smiled slightly, but there was no warmth in it, only certainty, only possession. His gaze locked onto Arya, not Kale, not the elders, only her. Then he spoke. "I've been searching for you." The clearing went still. Dangerously still. Kale stepped forward, power surged around him like a storm. "You were standing in alpha territory." The stranger didn't even look at him. Instead, he extended his hand toward Arya. "She doesn't belong to your pack." Silence. Then the words that froze the blood of every wolf present. "She belongs to my kingdom." Kale's aura exploded. But before he could speak, the stranger added calmly, "And before you ask," his eyes flickered briefly to Kale. Sharp, challenging, yes. I felt the mate bond too. Everything shattered. The clearing exploded into chaos. Not with movement, with tension. Invisible, suffocating tension. Two dominant auras collided in the air like thunderclouds. Alpha King Kale and the stranger, both powerful, both dangerous, both claiming the same mate. Kale stepped forward slowly, his golden eyes burning with controlled fury. The ground beneath his boots seemed to tremble with each step. "State your name," Kale said coldly. The stranger finally shifted his gaze away from Arya. A faint smirk touched his lips. "King Draven." The name moved through the crowd like a shockwave. Warriors exchanged alarmed glances. Several elders went pale, because everyone knew that name, King Draven. The ruler of the Shadow Dominion, the most feared Lycan kingdom beyond the northern borders. A kingdom that did not follow pack laws. A kingdom that answered only to strength. Arya's heart pounded. Her wolf trembled inside her, not in fear. In recognition, Draven's eyes softened slightly as he looked at her again. "There you are," he said quietly. Asleep for so long, Kale's aura surged violently. "Explain yourself." The command wasn't polite, it wasn't diplomatic. It was a warning. Draven chuckled softly. "You rejected her." The words landed like a blade. Kale's jaw tightened. That decision does not concern you. Draven tilted his head. On the contrary, his eyes flashed. It concerns me more than anyone here. The bond pulsed again. Stronger this time. Pain shot through Kale's chest. At the exact same moment, Draven inhaled sharply. As if he felt it too, the elders noticed, and panic began spreading. Elder Rowan stepped forward urgently. This cannot be happening. Kale's eyes snapped toward him. What are you talking about? Rowan hesitated. Then spoke carefully. There is only one reason multiple alphas can feel the same mate bond. Silence fell again. Heavy, dreadful, ancient. Rowan turned toward Arya. His voice lowered. Because she is not bonded to one alpha. He swallowed. She is bonded to a throne. Gasps erupted across the clearing. Arya froze. Kale's expression darkened. Draven smiled. Rowan continued. The bloodline of the first wolves does not choose mates. It chooses rulers. The torches flickered violently as the wind surged through the clearing. Ancient power awakened, and this time it came from Arya. Pain struck her chest, sharp, blinding. She gasped, clutching her heart. Silver light suddenly spread beneath her skin like glowing veins. Her wolf cried out, not weak anymore. Awakening, Kale stepped forward instantly. Arya. But before he could reach her, Draven moved faster, appearing beside her in a blur of motion. His hand hovered near her shoulder but didn't touch, not yet. Easy, he said softly. Your power is waking. The silver mark at Arya's collarbone ignited, bright. Blinding, ancient symbols spread outward like living light. The ground beneath her feet cracked, energy pulsed outward in waves. Several wolves stumbled backward under the pressure. Kale's instincts snapped. Possessiveness surged violently through him. He grabbed Arya's wrist. The moment their skin touched, the bond exploded. A shockwave tore through the clearing. Torches went out instantly. The sky seemed to darken, and for a brief moment, everyone heard it. A howl. Not from the forest, not from any wolf present, from something older, something legendary. Arya screamed. Visions flooded her mind. Ancient kingdoms wore silver crowns, 3 alpha figures kneeling before a glowing queen. And glowing eyes, just like hers. Then the vision vanished. Arya collapsed, but Kale caught her before she hit the ground. Arya, his voice was no longer controlled, no longer distant. It was raw, protective. Draven's expression sharpened. Careful, Alpha King. Kale looked up slowly, dangerously. What did you just say? Draven's golden eyes darkened. The rejection triggered the awakening. Kale went still. Rowan's face drained of color. That's impossible. Draven shook his head slightly. No, it's inevitable. Kale's grip tightened protectively around Arya. Explain. Draven's gaze shifted between them. Then he spoke the words that changed everything again. The bloodline of the first wolves cannot be rejected. Silence. Draven continued, when an alpha rejects her, the bond doesn't break. It multiplies. The clearing erupted into terrified whispers. Kale's heart dropped. Rowan staggered backward. Draven finished calmly. You didn't weaken the bond. You activated it. Kale looked down at Arya in his arms. Her silver mark still glowing faintly. Her breathing uneven. Her power rising. And for the first time, Kale realized the truth. This wasn't just about a mate. This was about a queen. Draven stepped forward slightly, his voice softer now. But far more dangerous. She must come with me. Kale's aura exploded instantly. No. The single word shook the clearing. Dominance surged outward like a storm. Warriors dropped to one knee under the pressure. Draven didn't move, didn't bow, didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled. Then we have a problem. The ground trembled again. But this time it wasn't Arya's power. It was something approaching the territory, fast, powerful, and not alone. One of the border warriors suddenly ran into the clearing, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. Alpha. Kale's gaze snapped toward him. What is it? The warrior swallowed. Another army is approaching. Silence, dead silence. Whose army? The warrior's voice shook. The Silver Fang Empire. Draven's smile faded. Rowan looked like he might collapse. Kale's eyes turned cold. Because there was only one reason 3 rival Alpha Kingdoms would arrive at the same time. Arya Vale had just become the most wanted wolf in the world. The wind turned colder, not natural cold, war cold, the kind that arrives before blood is spilled. Every warrior in the crescent moon pack shifted into formation within seconds. Training took over where fear tried to rise. Armor glinted beneath torchlight. Claws extended, eyes glowed. The air vibrated with restrained violence. Kale stood at the center of the clearing, Arya still unconscious in his arms. Her silver mark continued glowing faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Every pulse sent subtle waves of energy through the ground, through the wolves, through him, and each time his instincts tightened their grip. Mine, but now, that word carried uncertainty. Because Draven had said something Kale could not ignore, the bond multiplied. Draven's gaze shifted toward the northern forest. His expression had changed, no longer calm, now alert, focused, dangerous. They're faster than I expected. Kale's eyes narrowed. You knew they were coming. Draven didn't deny it. They've been searching for her longer than I have. A low rumble echoed through the trees. Not thunder, footsteps, hundreds of them, heavy, synchronized, approaching. Then the forest parted, and silver banners appeared between the trees. Each banner carried the same symbol, a crescent blade crossing a crown. The Silver Fang Empire had arrived. Warriors stepped into the clearing in perfect formation. Unlike pack fighters, these wolves moved like soldiers. Disciplined, silent, lethal. Silver armor reflected the moonlight, making them appear almost unreal. At their center, a single figure walked forward, tall, straight, backed, white cloak flowing behind him. His presence didn't explode like Kale's. It didn't suffocate like Draven's. It settled, cold, precise. Unavoidable, Arya stirred slightly in Kale's arms, not awake, but reacting. Her silver mark glowed brighter. The figure stopped at the edge of the clearing, his pale gray eyes immediately locked onto her. Recognition flashed instantly. Then relief. Kale felt it, and his aura darkened. Identify yourself, Kale said. The command rolled forward like a blade. The man stepped closer, calm, controlled, unafraid. Emperor Lucian. Gasps spread through the pack. Even the elders stiffened, because this wasn't just another alpha. This was the ruler of the most structured and militarized wolf empire in existence. Lucian's gaze never left Arya, not once, so Lucian said quietly, she has finally awakened. Draven crossed his arms slightly. You're late. Lucian didn't look at him. I prefer certainty. Kale stepped forward, placing himself more directly between Lucian and Arya. Protective, dominant, final. No one moves closer. Lucian's eyes finally shifted, meeting Kale's. For the first time, the air sharpened. Two rulers measuring each other, two dominant forces refusing to bend. Then Lucian spoke calmly. You rejected her. The words struck harder than any attack. Kale's jaw tightened. Lucian continued, and yet you still hold her. Before Kale could respond, Arya suddenly gasped. Her body tensed violently. Silver light burst outward from her mark. Stronger than before, brighter. Uncontrolled, power exploded through the clearing. Several warriors were forced backward. The ground cracked beneath Kale's feet. The sky itself seemed to ripple. Arya's eyes snapped open, glowing silver, not gold, not blue, silver. Ancient, endless, and when she spoke, her voice wasn't entirely her own. Why? The word echoed strangely. Layered as if multiple voices spoke at once. Are you all fighting? Silence fell instantly, complete. Absolute. Kale felt his heartbeat slow. Not from calm, from pressure, from power, from something far older than alpha dominance. Arya slowly sat up. Her gaze moved across the clearing, first Kale, then Draven, then Lucian, and the moment her eyes met Lucian's, another pulse of energy surged outward. Lucian inhaled sharply, not in pain, in recognition. Yes, he whispered, it's her. Arya blinked. The silver glow flickered slightly. Confusion began replacing the ancient aura. What's happening? The power faded. Slowly, but not completely, the mark still glowed, waiting, watching, awake. Kale steadied her as she struggled to stand. His voice lowered, softer than anyone had ever heard it. You're safe. But before Arya could respond, Lucian spoke, and his words shattered that illusion instantly. No, silence. Lucian stepped forward one step, only one. But the movement carried the weight of an army. She is the most unsafe person in this world right now. Arya's heart began racing again. Fear crept in, real fear, Draven added quietly, because now his golden eyes darkened. Everyone will come. Arya looked between them. Confused, overwhelmed. Why? Lucian answered, calm, precise, unavoidable. Because you are not just part of an ancient bloodline. A pause. Heavy, final, you are the last heir to the first wolf throne. The clearing fell silent again, but this time not from tension. From destiny, Arya's world tilted. Her breathing slowed, her thoughts scattered. A throne. Kale's grip tightened slightly. Protective, instinctive, but inside something colder formed. Because now he understood. This was no longer about a mate bond. This was about power, kingdoms, war, and a queen who didn't even know she was one. The wind suddenly howled through the clearing again. Stronger than before, darker, carrying a scent none of the three rulers expected. Draven's expression changed instantly. Lucian's eyes sharpened. Kale's wolf growled, because that scent meant only one thing, betrayal. Somewhere inside the Crescent Moon Pack, someone had just revealed Arya's location to the entire continent. And the real war had finally begun.